welcome once again to this learning Byte on our multiple brains. We're so happy to see you again. For people who've not seen the earlier parts of the series, I would request you to go ahead and see them because they're all connected. In the previous learning Bytes, we talked about the functions of our gut brain in detail. And in this one, we'll be talking about the functions of our heart brain and our head brain and what we need to do to ensure that they all work in harmony with each other and in sync with each other. So let us start. What are the functions of the heart brain? Now, the heart is the seat of emotion, of love, of compassion, of moral values, of deep connections. And when we say that someone is emotional, we mean that he's not very logical. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's open about his feelings. He understands his feelings. The heart brain will always tell you to follow your dreams, your passion. And when you don't listen to it, it starts losing heart itself. It starts losing neurons. You start losing connection with people. You start losing connection with your life. In fact, I believe the neural pathways which have been neglected in your heart are the reasons why people commit suicide, because there is no more passion to live. So let's look at the impact of the heart brain on our health. Well, numerous studies have shown that people with suppressed anger are most likely to have a heart attack, at least 3 times more likely to have a heart attack. There was a study which was done over more than 63,000 people, and they found that people with clinical depression are most likely to end up with serious cardiac issues. Issues like developing a blockage in the heart, for instance. Now, there's another very interesting study which, surprised me actually a lot. What they found was people, when they were given the routine procedure that you must have heard about, which is putting a stent in the heart, they found that once the stent procedure was done, the personalities of these people changed. All the symptoms of depression suddenly disappeared. And it makes sense, isn't it? All the feelings that you have suppressed for many years, feelings which have led to depression, grief, they're all somewhere stuck in the heart. And when you relieve the pressure, almost you can say, from that place, it automatically changes your personality. So we know that the heart processes feelings. And when we don't process them, when we don't acknowledge them, we can end up with depression, with anxiety, with a lot of other feelings. But it actually damages the physical heart. The people, on the other hand, who are happy-go-lucky, who don't hold on to negative emotions, who are excited about life, in the long run are much happier. So that is one of the most important things that you must remember. When you have negative emotions, you don't really hurt anyone else but yourself, and in specific, your heart. So now I'm getting to the last part of this module, the head brain. Now we all know the importance of the head brain. It has the maximum number of neurons. It is the decision-making center. So where's the problem? We have a very intelligent head brain, a very intelligent heart brain, a very intelligent gut brain. So why is it that we end up making absolutely stupid choices at times? Why is it that we have an internal dialogue which doesn't support our complete well-being? The answer is very simple. All roads lead to Rome, but very few come out of it. And what does that mean? 90% of the nerve communication is upwards. So that's 90%, which means most of our nerves are flowing upwards, sending information to the head brain, but only about 10% of the nerve communication is downwards, which means the head being able to affect the gut brain and the heart brain is very little. There is very little communication which is happening downwards. So how do we communicate with the gut brain and the heart brain? Well, you have to tell your head brain first to shut up. All the self-conversation that we have, all the voices we keep hearing, loud voices of our parents, of people who've been close to us, things which have got enmeshed in our brain cells. Well, we have to start by first telling those voices to shut up. When you allow the head brain to go completely quiet, then you can hear the voices of the other brains. The other brains talk to you in a tiny, really small voice. It doesn't use words. It uses metaphors. It uses sensations. It uses pictures, an emotion, memory. Sometimes you'll feel a certain tension on your back. Perhaps you're thinking about work. Now, each of these micro sensations, these muscle tensions, tell you something. Sometimes they don't even seem logical. For instance, I know of one person who would eat a lot of biscuits. And I used to, look at him and wonder, how can you eat so much of it? And one day he said, he just realized, and that was the last time he had so many biscuits. He said, my mom used to get those biscuits made in, she used to get them made and get them home in a tin. There was this huge steel boxes or tin boxes in which the biscuits used to be made. And his mother had died. So it was his way of connecting with his mother. So every time he was feeling a little lonely or he used to feel stressed, since he couldn't go to his mother, he would have biscuits. And his subconscious knew that, his gut brain and his heart brain knew that, but he, in his conscious mind, in his head brain, was only having biscuits. So the key to understanding the language of the communication with the heart and the gut brain is paying attention to every micro sensation that you feel when you meet someone, when you see someone, when you're doing anything. Just being aware, and it happens because the body speaks to us in a million different ways. We only have to be conscious enough to listen. So did this thing give you something to think about? Did it give you the answers to how to communicate with your multiple brains? How do you change it? Well, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you start practicing it. We come to the end of this learning Byte on multiple brains. I hope you enjoyed what we learned, and feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week.